This is the story of the most important breakup in history.
It didn't happen between two people in a crowded cafe, but in the microscopic world over 1 billion years ago.
This wasn't a breakup between lovers, but between life itself and the idea of perfection.
For eons, life had a perfect way to reproduce by making flawless, immortal copies of itself.
But then it made a choice to abandon that perfection for something inefficient, messy, and dangerous.
That dangerous new strategy was sex, and its consequences created the world we know.
This single decision is the reason over 8 million unique species, including you, exist today. So why did life abandon the perfect, immortal process of cloning itself for something as chaotic as sex? To understand this great betrayal, we first have to appreciate how good life had it in its old relationship. Imagine a world where you are essentially immortal, living on through your offspring. Having children is as simple and reliable as making a perfect copy of yourself. No need to find a partner, no risk of rejection, no wasted energy. It is efficient, it is fast, and it is safe, ensuring your exact genetic legacy continues forever. From a purely engineering perspective, this process, called asexual reproduction, is perfect. So what could possibly be worth throwing all of that away? But there was a dark secret hiding in this paradise, a fatal flaw in the code of life. To understand the breakup, we need to meet the villain of our story. It is a relentless, invisible enemy that threatened to wipe out all life on Earth. The problem with perfection is that it's static, and in the game of evolution, to be static is to be a sitting duck. The invisible enemies were microscopic parasites, bacteria, and viruses, all evolving at blistering speeds. These tiny predators are the universe's greatest code breakers, constantly searching for a way into a host's cells to replicate. For them, a species of identical clones was not a challenge, it was a buffet. Imagine your species' immune system is a single, complex lock. It's a very good lock, one that has kept your species safe for generations. But because everyone is a perfect clone, every single member of your species has the exact same lock. Meanwhile, the parasites are trying millions of different keys every single day. It's not a matter of if they find the right key, but when. And once a single parasite figures out the key, it's game over for everyone. The key works on your parents, on your siblings, on you, on everyone, with no exceptions. The entire species, a lineage millions of years old, could be wiped out by a single successful infection. This isn't just a theory. We've seen this happen in our own time. Until the 1950s, the most popular banana in the world was the Gros Michel. It was reportedly more delicious, creamier, and more resilient than the bananas we eat today. But every Gros Michel banana was a clone, a perfect copy grown from cuttings of the same plant. They were all genetically identical, each sharing the same perfect lock. Then, a fungus, the Panama disease, evolved the key. It spread across the globe, and in a few decades, the Gros Michel was commercially extinct. This was the fate that awaited all life on Earth, a silent, creeping extinction fueled by its own perfection. Life was trapped, facing an enemy that was faster and more creative. It couldn't win by building a better wall. The enemy would always find a way over. So evolution stumbled upon a radical new strategy, a breathtakingly clever gambit. It couldn't win by being static, so it embraced constant change. Life realized it had to change its locks with every single generation. And that brings us to the core of the mystery, a concept scientists call the Red Queen hypothesis. The name comes from Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, where the Red Queen tells Alice something profound. Here, you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. Life was in an evolutionary arms race with parasites, and the only way to not lose was to run as fast as they were. And that is exactly what sex is for. It is evolution's way of running. It's not about making copies anymore. It's about shuffling the deck. Imagine your genes are a deck of cards, a winning hand that has kept you alive. Cloning is just playing that same winning hand over and over while the parasites are learning how to beat it. Sex, on the other hand, is grabbing someone else with a different winning hand. You each throw half your cards into the middle, give them a thorough shuffle, and deal a brand new hand to your offspring. This new hand, this new combination of genes, is something the world has never seen before. It's a completely new lock for which no parasite yet has a key. Sex is just evolution shuffling the deck to create a combination no parasite has seen before. This constant reinvention keeps life one step ahead, or at least not one step behind. It's a brilliant, desperate, and ultimately world-changing solution to a deadly problem. If your mind is blown by the secret drama of evolution and you want to understand the hidden stories that shape our world, consider subscribing. We decode one of these mysteries every week. So life made its choice, breaking up with the lonely perfection of cloning for the messy collaboration of sex. And the first, most beautiful consequence was an explosion of creativity unlike anything before it. This constant shuffling of genes became a planetary engine for generating novelty. Every new combination was a tiny experiment, a new possibility for life to explore. This one decision is responsible for the staggering variety of life on Earth. It's the peacock's tail, a ridiculously impractical advertisement of good genes. It's the whale's haunting song, a complex communication broadcast across an ocean. It's the intricate patterns on a butterfly's wings and the very shape of a flower designed to attract a specific bee. Without the genetic raw material provided by sex, evolution's artistic palette would be nearly empty. The world would be a silent, uniform place, populated by just a few hyper-successful clones. But the most profound consequence of this great breakup is much more personal. It is the reason for your individuality. You are not a clone of your parents. You are a unique genetic experiment. The specific combination of traits that makes you, you, has never existed before in the history of the universe. And after you are gone, it will never exist again. This drive to create unique offspring is the ancient engine behind so many human dramas. The search for a partner, the complexities of attraction, the very concept of love are all downstream consequences of this ancient strategy. We seek out partners with different strengths, different immunities, different cards to add to the deck. It's all part of a subconscious drive to give our children the best possible hand in this endless evolutionary game. So this breakup gave us beauty, variety, and individuality. But this breakup, like many, came with a price, a terrible price. To save the species from extinction, evolution had to make the individual disposable. The price of sex was death.
Many simple cloning organisms are potentially immortal.
A single-celled bacterium doesn't die of old age. It simply divides, its lineage continuing indefinitely as long as conditions are good. But creating complex, sexually reproducing bodies that constantly shuffled genes introduced new problems. Our cells can only divide so many times before the copies get degraded and mistakes build up. This process is called aging, and it seems to be an unavoidable consequence of a complex body built for recombination. From evolution's perspective, your individual body is just a temporary vessel for your genes. Once you've passed those genes on, your purpose is fulfilled, and the resources you consume are better spent on the next generation. It's a brutal but efficient long-term strategy for the species. And death isn't the only cost. Sex is also incredibly inefficient. Finding a mate can be risky. It requires a huge amount of energy, and it makes you vulnerable to predation. Worse, you only get to pass on 50% of your genes. An asexual organism passes on 100%. It's twice as efficient at propagating its own DNA. From a purely genetic standpoint, it's a terrible deal. It's a deal you would only ever take if the alternative was guaranteed extinction. Some organisms, like water fleas, get the best of both worlds. When times are good and stable, they clone themselves rapidly, taking advantage of the efficiency. But when the environment becomes stressful or parasites build up, they switch to sexual reproduction, shuffling the deck to create resilient new combinations. Your individuality, then, is a side effect of your species' eternal defense against parasites. So what does this ancient breakup, this billion-year-old war, mean for you sitting here today? Well, it affects you in ways both profound and mundane. Every time you catch a common cold, you are fighting a personal battle in the Red Queen's race. The virus has evolved to bypass your current defenses, and your immune system is working to create new ones. Every cold you catch is your own personal battle in a billion-year-old war. This eternal war is also why you look and act differently from your siblings, even with the same parents. You are each a unique shuffle of the same two decks of cards, a living testament to this strategy. And perhaps most fascinatingly, we are now the first species in history to understand this system. Technologies like CRISPR gene editing are humanity's first clumsy attempts to consciously direct the shuffle. We are trying to hack the very system that created us, with consequences we are only beginning to imagine. So the most important breakup in history wasn't a moment of passion, but a calculated trillion-generation gamble. Faced with annihilation by an ever-evolving plague, life made a choice. It gave up the guarantee of passing on all its genes for the chance to give its children a novel defense. It abandoned the lonely perfection of immortality for the chaotic, beautiful mess of community. This one strategic shift filled the world with variety, with beauty, and with endless novelty. It also gave us aging, struggle, and the certainty of our own death. It chose a world of risk and danger, but also a world that could create you. The next time you look in the mirror, remember that you are the result of the riskiest and most successful breakup of all time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more shameless sapiens.